Hey, we are here once again. Marriage Moments with the Islands. We're always excited to be with you monthly, and sometimes we throw in a bonus episode. But today is very special because I have my bride, like always, by my side, and we're going to talk about love and respect.
Yeah, today we're going to talk about love and respect. Valentine's Day is coming up.
Yeah.
When is next Saturday?
No, it's Friday.
Oh, it's on a Friday.
She told me she was kind of like Valentine's Day out, like kind of like earlier this week. She said, "Man, it just popped up on us."
Yes,
this year, right?
I don't know why. I feel like it's been a little sneaky this year. I don't know, but we're having something exciting going on.
Yeah. We have Love Wins Conference at our church, the Well Community Church. We're gonna have a link in the comments where you can actually click that link and register. It literally is. Join us for our Love Wins Conference, and you're gonna get information on the screen or in and you're gonna get information on the screen or in the links soon. So just go ahead and check us out because we would love to have you.
Absolutely, we would, and I think I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah,
because I think it's going to be. I've never been to a Love Wins conference with Pastor Juan and Ruthie, but I've heard that it's pretty good. They give really good information and really good advice, and they speak from experience. And so it's always good. It's always good to be able to learn as much as you can. Marriage, however, I feel is an OJT, on the job training type situation, but it's still always good to go in it as informed as you possibly can.
Yeah, well, marriage is hard.
Yeah, I agree.
Anyone that has that fairy tale hallmark mindset when it comes to marriage, I mean, you want to quickly get out of that.
Yeah.
Because it's not that. You know, marriage is hard work. It's a great work. It's a loving, beautiful thing. But you want to get out of that mindset that it's like happily ever after. That's only in the movies. You got to put in the work. You got to humble yourself. And this topic that we're talking about, love and respect, I think that really wraps up what marriage is all about.
Yeah. I would agree. It kind of boils down to those two things, ultimately. Now, we're Christians, so we live from a biblical worldview. And in Ephesians chapter 5, verse 25 through, say, around 33, he kind of gives a breakdown, right, of what love and respect in a marriage should look like and what each person can bring to the table, so that it's supposed to translate into love and respect for one another.
Yeah, basically it's two things after you say everything. Husbands, love your wife as Christ loved the church. Wives, submit to your husband as unto the Lord. And he begins to start breaking down what the marriage unit looks like. He even tells us that the husband is symbolic to Christ and the wife is symbolic to the church. And he's given us this emblem to help us process what our role is. And so Christ loved the church people, that he died for them. He sacrificed. He totally loved us so much that he gave himself up. And for husbands, I mean, it says a lot.
Yeah.
That you and I, we're sitting down there at the end of the altar, and at the altar is where things die.
Right.
And we're waiting for our bride to gradually come to us. And so, one of the things they're doing is that they're coming to you, and it's supposed to be a loving act on our part, and they're supposed to respectfully come in that direction. Sometimes we're trying to force respect. I know I've been there in marriage, or just make someone respect you, but it's really not healthy to attempt to make people respect you or make someone love you, right?
Right. Oh my gosh. So you're referring to the actual marriage ceremony where the husband is standing down there at the altar and the wife is gradually making her way to him.
Yes.
And you made a very compelling statement. You said that things are put on the altar to die. Yeah. And I think that's powerful, because I think that sometimes people just don't understand that that's what it's about. People just do not understand that is the the call of the day. Yeah. That is what, is supposed to be going on. And it's kind of like a lock and key almost thing, when I think about it, because that component, because my job as a wife is to submit, and that has become it's almost like a curse word, I'm talking, it's almost like dropping F-bombs, like for real, when you mention that word to women, because it just seems, I've literally heard it equated to demeaning and putting you down low, and things like that. And and the reason why I say it's a lock and key effect is because when a husband is loving, a wife tends to respond in kind with respect,
Right.
And they go hand in hand, so much so that when one is not receiving respect or love, it's because one is not giving love or respect, and so it's reaping what you sow, like full time, real time. It comes around full circle really quick, and so and I think it's important for couples to understand that, because it does play out that way. You do not get what you don't put in, period. And so I just kind of, in our marriage, I know Billy has shared with me that the early on, because we talk about it all the time, our first year of marriage was really hard for a lot of reasons.
First about 2 or 3 years.
It was really hard. That first year was extremely hard for me. I think the next year it was not as hard, but it was still hard, and it just kind of got gradually stopped being as hard, I think.
I think out of growth it stopped being as hard, but it's always difficult. It just no going around that.
It is, and I think it's because that is exactly what the enemy fights against in a marriage. He's fighting for me to be disrespectful to you and you to be unloving towards me. And that's where the battle is on all the time. And we tell people, as long as you're dating, or you could even be living together, there's like no fights. It's so much harmony. It's so much peace, because there's no mandates in the Bible.
It's limited for sure. Maybe not none, but it's limited in dating. Meaning, like if you're dating, it's like, oh, it's so much peace. We have, and it's limited, but because the enemy is not against dating or being engaged, right?
Right. Yeah, that's exactly what I mean, but God, like we're just mentioned in Ephesians chapter 5, he kind of lays down what it's supposed to look like.
Right.
And so that the enemy is automatically fighting against that being played out in your life.
Once you say I do, now it's a war.
Now it's a
from
war.
the enemy. He's not, the enemy is not against you shacking up.
Right.
He's not against you dating, but once you say I do, oh my gosh. All hell breaks loose.
Yeah.
And so I like that word, though. You said respect, because when you hear the word submit, yes, it does, sound demeaning. Some women have taken that, and men have taken that, and they've actually butchered the true essence of that word.
Yeah. And
so when you say respect, it would seem like it's something obtainable. Oh, I can respect my husband. For the husband, it's very important to understand and identify what love is.
Yeah.
I think that when we don't know what love is, and God gives you the challenge, right? Gosh, God gives us a challenge. Most of the time men are rough. We're impatient. We can be abrupt. And these are all the opposite things of love,
or equate sex with love.
Yeah. But some people equate sex with love, but just the very act, your actions, your character, like, it's like you have to die. You have to deny yourself. You have to, start doing the opposite of your nature of what's common to you. And what about for women? Like when it comes to respect,
it definitely goes against, your nature. So as a woman, I believe that what happens is that women tend to pick apart a man and kind of build a case as to why they don't want to respect, you know, because, oh, he did this, and oh, he's irresponsible here, and oh, I don't like that he did that, you know, nothing like deal breaking, like infidelity or anything, just nitpicky little stuff, you know. Or, you know, a man perhaps is irresponsible, but it's still the choice you made, right? I feel like those are some of the barriers that women face when it comes to respecting their husband, you know.
So you're saying it's still the woman's choice that she made by marrying that guy.
Yeah.
Even though he's irresponsible.
Yeah. Or, you know, he does a bunch of things that you all of a sudden are realizing, you know, because I feel like people show you who they are all the time.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's just whether or not you want to believe it or whether or not you want to see it for what it is. So when it starts showing up in a marriage, the husband, you know, starts showing up for who he truly is in the marriage, which you can't run, can't hide in a marriage. You're going to bring your true self to the table. I think that women tend to use that as a reason not to respect him.
Yeah, so you date people's personality, but you marry their character.
Right.
And it comes out, and then you're saying many women may use their character flaw as a reason to be disrespectful.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that the right thing to do? I mean, because God, I mean, I don't know if God ever said in his word, you can disrespect them if they're not, you know, this, or they're not that, or they're not carrying out these mandates. So what do you think about that?
No, you definitely aren't supposed to be disrespectful, even if the person isn't measuring up to whatever standard you think they should. That, you know, you shouldn't be. Now, I can't say that I'm not, or I never was, you know, because I'm quick to get an attitude or quick to roll my eyes or whatever, you know, at times. So I think that that doesn't give you an excuse, just like it doesn't give a husband an excuse not to show love just because his wife has flaws or she doesn't cook or she doesn't do whatever, you know, they perceive to be what a wife should do, you know.
Excuse me. So there's no way out, no wiggle room for this.
There
so
really
if my wife is not doing things that I thought she should do, I still gotta love them. That's the choice. I need to choose in a biblically centered marriage. So if I'm being disrespectful, or even if I'm not as loving as I should be, you know, or not as responsible as I should be, there's no way out, because the word still says you should respect your husband. So now, I mean, out there, as you're dating, these are things that really evaluate. Like, me and Helena dated for almost 3 years. And so that dating, you know, you begin to start looking at the person and identifying, can I do this for the rest of my life? These are very important things. So many people jump into marriages, and a time period of dating, I can't tell you what that is for you. I mean, everyone, they have their own, you know, timeline. But we dated for 3 years, and I'm not saying that's the perfect time, you know. But, you know, some people are a little older in their age. Maybe you're 50 or 60. I mean, what do you look like dating for 3 to 5 years? I mean, you don't, you know, you may already know what you want, and you've seen it, and you say, okay, I'm willing to make that step into marriage. But if you're dating right now, you want to identify. You don't pick them apart to say, nah, I ain't gonna do this. I can't put up with this. But you have to identify, can I still love that individual? Knowing yourself. And am I willing to make the sacrifice in order to love that person? Or to still respect that person, right?
I agree, because that's the mandate, right? If you want to have holy matrimony. And then also, people have been showing you who they are all along.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and so when you're dating, that person is showing you who they are. And that's why it's important to have your head on the swivel. Like, you have to be paying attention to who this person is, and not let it get all cloud, your judgment get all cloudy.
Starry-eyed.
Yeah. I mean, falling in love is a beautiful thing. The butterflies in your stomach, and just loving to see that person. That's all sweet.
Oh my God, that's my person.
Yeah, that's my boo and all that. And that's good. I'm glad you got a boo. But you really, I cannot stress enough, don't forget, I'm supposed to be on a job here. Paying attention to this man, seeing it, can I respect this man? Because I don't care what anybody says. Nobody just pops up and is this horrible, whatever reason you have for being disrespectful towards your husband. They didn't pop up and just be that overnight.
And watch this.
You know,
now, I know some people may say, well, you're supposed to respect everyone. You do. And you're like, why should I go through a dating process to see if I can respect them? Because they're going to be very close to you. It's a big difference between respecting someone, a colleague at work for 8 hours. It's a difference between living with someone 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I'm going to tell you what clouds judgment. And I'm going to go there.
Yeah, do it.
Oh, I'm about to go there.
Go.
When you have premarital sex, it jacks your whole view up, and now you can't make a quality decision because you're so emotionally attached, so physically attached. So now, even if you do see red flags, you go do it anyway.
Yep.
And you just because you have this emotional attachment, so now that premarital sex mess everything up. I mean, you can be starry-eyed, yes.
Yeah.
You can actually be dating and having a good time and enjoy fellowship with them. Yes. You can even hang out and say, oh, I love spending time with them. Yes, you can be there.
Yeah.
But when you have a physical, contact, sexual intercourse, premarital sex really messes you up.
Totally.
And I went there. I did that.
I've never seen anything destroy the man, like a relationship worse than that.
I'm telling you,
it just ruins everything.
Oh my God. And we're pastors, right? So we pastor a church in Dallas, and we have one life-giving, movement with 4 different locations. And let me tell you this, we have counseled. We've done premarital counseling, we've done marriage counseling, and every time, I'm not being judgmental
at all,
but every time someone have premarital sex, we always, later, now you see all these flaws. It's like you didn't want to do none of it. You didn't want to stop it.
Didn't want to see it.
You didn't want to stop it because we knew if you got into this, now once you have to live together because it's hard work.
It is.
Oh my God, it's hard work. So that's one of the things that hinders you from respecting. I'm going to tell you what me and Helena done. And I'm not proud of it. We didn't have sex before marriage, thank God. But we did kiss.
Yes.
We did kiss, and I used to feel so condemned because I didn't think kissing was right because I knew for me, I would want to, you know what I'm saying? I want to. I want to go all the way, right?
Yeah.
And so I didn't understand that, and, I didn't understand like just kissing. And so then I would be aroused and we wouldn't do that. Thank God we didn't do it. But I felt like for me, and I don't know if Helena, agrees with this, but I felt like because I confessed that this was my conviction, I don't want to kiss. And then I went against that. I felt like there was a little respect lost unconsciously, and I had some battles and wars in our marriage that I really wouldn't have had if I wouldn't have violated my conviction of what I said I didn't want to do before marriage. That's just how I felt.
Yeah.
I may be overthinking it, but I just feel like when you do things like that, you set yourself up because what you sow, you reap.
Oh yeah, for sure. And excuse me, I would always say, I don't know if that's what that is. I think you're being a little dramatic about it. But in reality, you expressed your conviction,
Yes.
And I did not have that conviction. And so I'm not saying.
Hold up now.
It wasn't my conviction. I mean,
hey, she revealing herself.
I didn't. Not that I was just trying to seduce him all like that.
Y'all heard it now. Y'all heard it.
It wasn't my
Y'all
conviction.
always think I'm the bad guy. She just said it.
It wasn't. I didn't see nothing wrong with kissing.
Right.
But I also knew I didn't want to do, go the whole thing.
Yeah, you
the whole
have sex for sure.
Yeah. I didn't want to go that far with it, but I didn't see anything wrong with kissing. But he did, and he expressed that. And I disrespected that line because I was like, it's okay.
Right.
Like
she was
that.
pushing her agenda.
So in essence, it kind of started off with me being disrespectful towards your wishes out the gate. And so that's probably why the first year of marriage was so hard, because we were trying to redeem that respect level that I should have maintained from the beginning. Yeah. So my bad.
Yeah. Well,
now, I mean, I'm seeing it from a whole different angle now, which is good, because you said that for years and I literally couldn't see it until right now, because, and it just clicked that, you did express your feelings, and I totally, your conviction, and I totally ignored it. And
there's they always have to find a balance somewhere, because someone's convictions may be one thing, and it don't make her a bad person because that was not her conviction. Yeah. For me, let me explain why that was my conviction to the audience, just in case you don't know. I have a background. 20 years ago, I was a drug addict. I was an extremist. I never drunk one beer. I always drunk a case or a 12 pack. It was never one. I wouldn't smoke one blunt. I would smoke 5 or 10. And everything I done was so extreme. Yeah. I didn't know how to pump the brakes at all. No yield. It was all green light. Yeah. And so I knew myself, my character, my flesh, that I knew if it aroused through a kiss, which it was going to, I was trying to protect myself, because there was times where I was pursuing, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I'm gonna call your bluff. And she's like, no, we can't do that. I'm like, no, well, hold on. You didn't already say it. You didn't already open the door, right? And so thank God for your conviction, because I'd violated mine already. Mine out the door, right? Yeah. And so she was like, no. Hold on, babe. I was like, well, why did I told you? And I would get all frustrated, right? But the reality is because I knew my nature. Yeah. My nature was, I'm an extremist. And I should have believed you. Yeah. I should have believed you. Oh, you believe it now, don't you? Oh, absolutely. And so yeah, I mean, that's how that rolls. That when one person is expressing or showing you who they are, it is our job as partners to believe that about that person, to see, oh, okay, this is like, she can catch attitude. Understand that that's not going to go away. Like, that's going to pop back up again. Oh, he gets frustrated. Understand that that's going to pop up again. And like Billy said, the whole name of the game is can I maintain respect for that man if he continues this way? Yeah. Can I maintain love for that woman if she never changes? That is so important to understand, because that's the name of the game in marriage. Yeah. And it's not an easy road to say, to hold your stance on being a respectful wife or a loving husband. It's not easy. It's challenged. It really is. Challenged every day. Every day. So, in our marriage, it's been challenged. Matter of fact, today, we were we had, we were on our way to Rob's graduation. Rob is a friend of ours, and he graduated today anyway. Long story short, we got some really good news yesterday. Emotions were really high, and Billy drank some coffee. Yep. And anyway, we were having a conversation. I always take the long way around the story. Right. We were having a conversation, and I said something, and his response was like a blow up, like a frustration, like, that's how I interpreted it. My response was on 10. Yeah. And she was like on 2.
Yeah. So
right. So she's talking all, and I'm all hyped. Yeah. Excited. I had about 4 cups of espresso, and I'm just being me. But people that know me, I'm like this now. I'm not mad, but I was like this where I'm at. Yeah. I was very excited. I was very excited. But my whole point is that she. We had an interaction, and then we had to deal with it, and that's going to be marriage for the rest of our lives. Like, meaning we're going to have arguments, you're going to have debates, you're going to have to work it out, you're going to have to forgive, you're going to have to move forward. I mean, and that's something that's important. I think the one word that I think that, and it gets a bad rap, but in marriage, if you don't get this one word, it's going to be very difficult, and it's just compromise. Mm-hmm. And that's not a negative word when it comes, the way I'm using it is like, I got to compromise, in the sense of like, okay, I want to do this, but I'm going to compromise. Mm-hmm. I want to say this, but I'm going to compromise. Yeah. Sometimes you may not feel like you're wrong, but I'm going to compromise and ask for forgiveness to keep the peace. And so, in order to express that love, in order to express, to express that respect. I mean, and reality is, that's going to be an ongoing thing day in and day out.
Yeah. Yeah. So with that story, what I was saying was that it kind of unfolded that way. Like he said, he was on 10, I was on 2, and I shut down. Like I felt like that's not cool. So I got an attitude, but I didn't just start getting attitudes today. That's something that's been a part of me that I work on all the time. And so my whole point is that you still have to deal with me in a loving way, and I still have to deal with you in a respectful way and bring the conversation to a place where we can both get an understanding, and that involves compromise. That involves saying, hey, you know what, let me look at this from your perspective. Let me look at this, let me put myself in your shoes and see how I would feel and things like that. And it's super important to be able to compromise. In marriage, compromising, is not a bad word unless it gets how could compromising go bad in a marriage? I feel like it could, just because that word
compromising
is like so
your convictions, like what we were just talking about. Like if God told you a particular thing and you actually compromise in order to please your wife or to please your husband. And back to that story, I think that you can be unloving and you can be disrespectful and then you can get it right. Because I feel like there was a moment in our interaction earlier today where it was disrespectful and it was unloving on my end. But you evaluate it, just so you know, God is so forgiving. He's loving. If you confess your sins, he's faithful and just to forgive you of your sins and cleanse you of all unrighteousness. And that's one of the things that married couples need to know, because so many times I see young couples, they're like, I'm through. I don't want any parts of this. Me and Helena have been together going on 15 years this year. Been married 15 years this year. And we've been together going on 18 years this year. That's not the first time we've had an encounter.
Right.
That's not the first time you got disrespect. That's not the first time I was unloving. But guess what we do? You ask the Lord to forgive you. Obviously, you ask your spouse to forgive you. You come to and you need to, we can't just say, oh, forgive me, and walk off. Now we need to get an understanding.
Like what's going on here?
What's happening here? Why am I emotionally, in an uproar? And and then you want to put, encounters like that far and like a big distance between them taking place. Like we don't need to be having this every day. I mean, because men, we don't roll like that. I mean, it's like, I can name probably, the times that we've had an argument, like, intense, like maybe 2 times in the last 2.5 years or so, year and a half, 2 years, and the whole thing is every time we should be learning something.
Yes,
so
that's super important.
You should be learning something about your spouse. You don't want to throw in a towel, young couples, because you have an encounter. You don't want to quit on your marriage because she's being disrespectful. You don't want to quit on your marriage because he's unloving. Now, I understand if you're in a toxic environment, people are beating on you, they're verbally abusing you. Hey, somewhere, you got to draw the line and you got to identify where that line is. But I am saying, if you're just having arguments and debates, I'm here to tell you, if you're not debating and arguing, someone is not thinking.
Right.
Someone's not using their brain, because my thinking always conflicts with her. Just like what you were just saying. You were saying, I always take the long way around the story. She takes a long time to get around to it. She's going to tell you all the details. Me, I'm getting straight to the point. But that's where opposites attract. Because I'm totally opposite of her. Like, she'll be cool. I'm way up here. I'm all excited. That's just me, and so, I'm going to bring my individuality to the table. She brings hers. And we got to learn how to find a way to still love one another and respect for one another for who we are.
Yes, that's the whole point. That's the whole point of it. And I say that's the whole point, and it sounds easy, but it can be difficult sometimes. We'll be the first to acknowledge that. And that's why marriage is a lifelong journey. That's why you're with your partner till death do you part, because you're gonna hit sometimes and then you're gonna miss sometimes. And it's super important to understand that as a couple, and not be so willing to throw away the whole marriage just because you guys may be going through a rough patch of navigating love and respect for each other on a certain topic, and so or just in general. So it is a journey.
The focal point should be holiness, not happiness. Now, happiness is a byproduct of you seeking holiness, like becoming better, being more pure, being more develop, your character. But I got a question for you. What is something that gets under your skin that I do that is very difficult to respect me after I've done that?
Wow. I would have to say when I feel like you're not allowing me to express how I feel about something without you having to tell me, you know, either where I'm wrong in it or where I could see it from a different angle or where I could do something different, you know, just which when I take a step back and cool down and don't feel like you're trying to gaslight me and all that, I say, okay, you know, you have a point. You know, it does help me grow to see it from that perspective. And as my spouse, I don't think you would just intentionally do something to hurt me. Mm-hmm. And so I think that is the foundational truth, you know, that I stand on. Like, he loves me. He's not going to do anything to hurt me. But in that moment, I feel like, seriously, bro, I'm just trying to tell you how I feel about it. You know?
And watch
and I'm not trying to hear that, you know?
And so watch this. Watch how that totally makes me have to be the opposite who like I am by nature.
Yeah.
By nature, I'm a leader. By nature, I'm trying to bring a solution. I think men do that, right? Women may just want to talk about it, you know, the problem, whatever, and you know, they just want you to listen, which is nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
We're like, okay, let's solve this, you know, and you know, so that caused me to have to deny myself if I'm gonna do what she requires, or what, not necessarily what she requires, but what she needs and what she wants in this season right now. So that one's difficult at times, you know. I don't get it right all the time, you know, and I think I've gotten better, hopefully, you know, just to listen. And it does, you know, take a lot of a restraint and you know, development and growth on my end.
Yeah. So I'm not going to ask that question of you. Nah, just kidding.
Yeah.
How, I don't remember how you worded it exactly, but
basically what gets under my skin that causes me not to be able to love you as Christ loves the church.
Yeah.
And I think for me, it's when I feel as if I'm being disrespected, you know, or if I feel as if like you're not listening to me, you know. And I talk a lot because I talk a lot, right?
Yeah. And you talk for a living. So.
Yeah. So one of the things is like, I think that sometimes in my mind, I'm thinking like, she didn't shut me down. She moving on, you know, she's scrolling, whatever. She's not even thinking about what I'm saying because, you know, I have to evaluate myself. Like, you know what, you do run your mouth all day, right? So she probably just like, you know, shut you off because she's just tired of hearing you. You know what I mean? I mean,
not so much I'm tired of hearing you.
She is human. You know what I mean? You know, but right there, but right there, it deals with me, and I have to deal with, you know, the issues that's going on in my heart. Not that I'll. Sometimes I may say something that, you know, out of a place of, you know, frustration, but for the most part, I may be frustrated or irritated on the inside.
Yeah. And that's fair, you know, because I'm not going to say it doesn't happen that way to where I'm just like, I just need a moment to regroup. And then like, not only do you talk for a living, but he's a verbal processor. So I'm not a verbal processor. I'm an internal processor. Yeah. So for me, I'm just know your like, person. Can we just sit here and think about what we just said? Can I, you know, just think about it? No, he wants to talk it out.
I talk it out.
Like step 1, 2, 3. I mean, and then he starts giving all these 100 scenarios, and I'm just like, bro, what do you want?
Because the way my mind works, you know, is I never have just one thing, one solution. I have like 932 solutions to this issue and options. I don't think like that. I don't think like, oh, we just got one. I got 932 like different options that I have because I'm just not going to settle for one. You know what I mean? Just in case this one doesn't look like it's going to work out, you know. And she's hearing all this, you know, as I think it out sometimes.
You know, it's overwhelming sometimes. You know, to be honest, like I'm just like, I mean, is it red or is it green? Like, I mean, I don't need to, you know. And so, and that happens internally. And so he's wanting to talk about the issue right here, right now. And I'm like, I really don't want to talk about it. I'd rather just process. And so that when I do come to talk about it, I can have an intelligent conversation instead of it just turning into tears, or instead of me just shutting down, getting an attitude, which I can be the queen of.
So you notice how we are totally different. So in order for her to respect me and in order for me to love her, it takes work. It takes Christ, first of all. It takes Jesus. Because in our natural state, we're gonna clash like dramatically.
Absolutely.
Because I want to talk it out. I want to get to the solution now.
Yeah.
I don't want to walk away and there's a problem, there's a hurt, there's a pain, there's an offense, there's unforgiveness, there's bitterness. We're not walking away. I don't want to.
Yeah.
But I've learned her over the years that, yeah, she's not wanting to deal with the situation. She's dealing with it in her own way.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that she don't want to deal with it, because I want to, let's talk about this. She needs to internalize it, possibly even pray, think about it, come back properly, so she won't, emotionally react, and she can speak intelligently. I'm like, I know what we need to do. The Bible say,
right.
You know what I mean? We need to forgive. So we need to forgive right now, girl. I mean, in my mind, And so, but over the years, I've learned, that's not bad.
Yeah. And I'm not holding on or processing like with the intention of like staying bitter or, just like building a case in my mind and things like that. I'm literally processing. I've learned over the years to process in a healthy way so that we can have an intelligent conversation. I'm not like stacking up evidence to, put out there. I'm not building a case. And that's important.
Yeah.
Because
I know that for sure.
You can be an internal processor, but the flip side and the danger of being an internal processor is that sometimes if you don't get what you're processing internally out, it just stays in you. And what happens is a little root of bitterness can start growing before you even know it.
Yeah.
And so so achieving respect for your husband is going to be nearly impossible, and loving your wife is going to be nearly impossible once you start letting that little root of bitterness grow, because I promise you, your flesh is going to want to water it.
Yeah.
Don't
water it.
And so it's super important that, for all my internal processors out there, I feel you, I see you, and I just want to encourage you to process. Sure, take your time, do that, but don't let it be 2 weeks later, a whole month later, he done forgot about what you're talking about now, and you done let all this stuff build up, and now it's like that experiment that kids used to do, putting a Mentos in a Diet Coke, and you pop that top and it's just like going everywhere. You want to be able to get to the point, and I have done some work with my therapist and prayer and all that to be able to process a little quicker, so we can have this conversation a little faster, so that we can have a healthy environment in our home and in our marriage. And so love and respect is vital in a marriage. You will not have achieve holy matrimony without those two components.
Yeah, you need both. And what I love about marriage is you build up marriage equity.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing right now. We're withdrawing from out of the account from our experience of almost 18 years together, and almost 15 years married, and we're drawing from the equity that we've acquired over these years.
Yeah.
A lot of experiences. This is not negative. This is something that, this prayerfully, it helps you, because over the years we've had a lot of conflict and resolution. Key is resolution, because you're going to have conflict, but some people have conflict with no resolution.
Yeah.
And that's what she's talking about. Like, she's an internalizer, but we come to a resolution, a biblical resolution. Yes. And so you want to be able to build up equity, young couples, and be able to pour into the next generation and the next married couple, because it's so important for us to pass on wisdom. It's so important for us to pass on that marriage is not easy. It's an amazing thing. I wouldn't change any of our experiences.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, the hard ones,
Yeah.
The good ones, the great ones. I mean, all of our traveling, all of our eating together, laughing, joking, you know, our debates. I've learned to love you for who you are.
Yeah.
And I believe that you've learned to trust me and respect me for who I am.
Yeah.
And that's the beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
That is the beautiful thing. And so as you listen to this, you know, we're talking about love and respect in marriage, but please take these experiences, these hurdles that we overcome, and even the solutions of hearing out your spouse. Understand they're gonna be different.
Yeah.
They're gonna be different. she's going to be a certain way, I'm going to be a certain way, but come to a resolution when you have conflict. And those two things is going to really solve it if you just love husband and if you just respect wife. I think it'll be a better space in your house with your family and for your futures.
Absolutely, I do. So that's us tonight. Thank you for joining us. We kind of like doing it live, right? It's been pretty cool. We really enjoy it. So if you have not subscribed to our YouTube, what is it? I'm sorry, I get it all.
Marriage Moments with the Islands. Subscribe on our YouTube page.
Yes, on our YouTube page.
Hopefully you make comments. Maybe if you have some questions, we can get around to them. Thank you so much, because Marriage Moments with the Islands is so important. I'm telling you, every moment matters. All these moments we experience, we just shared, they matter. Yes. Don't ever count out, argument, that didn't matter. That was a waste of time. No, it's not. You should be learning your spouse.
Should be.
You should be learning what they like and what they dislike. So, Marriage Moment with the Islands. God bless you.
Thank you for joining us.